Check, 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 check. Check. Hmm. Never getting an echo. There he is. What's up, sir? Let me see if I can get Charles to join us. See if he's too busy.
He might be too busy.
He just might. I know you guys. Didn't you guys just get in town?
He's still out of town. I'm back home.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
he's
why
out
he
of
hasn't
town.
hit me back. Because I sent him the link earlier today, and I haven't heard anything. So it's probably what's going on then.
Yep.
All right. This is going to be real smooth and easy. We're going to do the audio. So you can probably introduce yourself if you wanted to, because I don't know all the accolades that you tout, and I know you want to plug the gear because I see it. It is fly,
Yeah.
by the way. I need to get
Thank
my
you, bro.
paper up because I want the love with just the blocks, the shapes.
Yeah.
That is genius. I love that.
Thank you, bro. I'll just send you one. Send me your address. I got one for you.
All right, for sure. I'll make sure I hit that for you. So we'll do a quick little introduction, and I'm asking you basically 3 topics or 3 questions. One is tell me about your father. It could be the good, the bad, or the ugly, or the unknown. And then we'll see if we can pick out something that maybe draw it out a little bit further, get some detail. Then there'll be a moment where I'll ask you, finish the question or finish the sentence. The funny thing about my father is, and then we'll just get into how those aspects of your growing up or what you were talking about have affected you as a parent and what your take on fatherhood is.
Okay, for sure.
So we'll spend about maybe 8 to 10 minutes on each one of those if we can. And that'll be it. Then at the end, you can plug anything that you're into, where they can find you, because we know you're the great communicator. You've got 365 days going all the time.
Every day.
Every day, multiple times a day, all day. You feel me? All day. So what I will do, Charles has a beginning and an ending already set, so we'll end up putting this between those bookend intros and outros, and then we'll just publish it. Hopefully we can get this done every one a Monday. So you get enough done so we can have one per Monday for a few weeks and see what we can do.
All right, for sure.
So I'll be quiet most of the time. I'm gonna be over here just letting you speak. I will let the guests speak. I might interject, just maybe draw some things out a little bit further. But I'll be, here sipping on my ginger lemon tea. I'm getting sick.
Oh man, that's not good. Not the season for that.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm trying to get out here and be seen. I can't be sick.
No,
so
it's not the.
I'm gonna grab me some blueberries. And then it's already recording, so we'll be able to edit this down a little bit, and then we'll get started. We'll be right back.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right, sir. So let me do my little introduction and we'll go. All right. Welcome everyone to the Fathers and Sons Speak podcast. My name is Brian Fort. On behalf of Fathers and Sons Speak, I am here today with a very, very special guest, a friend of the family, so to speak. This man's been down with Fathers and Sons Speak since I can remember. So I know that he does a lot of things for Fathers and Sons Speak. I know he does a lot of things for himself and his own movement, which is a fantastic example of consistency in communication and in just pursuing your passion. I'm not going to give you too much about him. I'm going to let Mr. 365, Mr. Howard 365 introduce himself and give you a little bit of his background before we get into it. All right, so if you want to, Mr. Howard 365, please introduce yourself, sir.
No, that was a great introduction. We can go. No, just kidding. Yeah, my name is Robert Howard. On social media, I go by Mr. Howard 365. Um, my real name is actually Robert Jeremiah Howard III. I'm the third Robert. My son is the fourth
Whoa.
Robert Howard. Uh, Born and raised in Los Angeles, I'm the only child of Betty Howard and Robert Jeremiah Howard II. And yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah. How do you feel being a junior or a third in line like that? Like, do you feel any pressure carrying that name or a legacy of any kind? Or you just, hey, I'm Robert?
Yeah, I'm not really a pressure person. I look at it as I look for the good in it. So, my dad, he came from where he came from. He dealt with what he dealt with. He did what he did. It's my job to learn the lessons and apply the wisdom and to figure out, hey, so how do I beat that? How do I improve on that? Like an iPhone, like a car, right? You don't want the
Mhm.
new version to be whacker than the original retro. You want
You
the new
got
one to
that
be
right.
better. So that's how I look at it.
That is a great way to look at it. And no pressure. You've always been even keel. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen you rattled or heard about you ever being rattled. Um, let's see where that comes from. Um, tell me about your father.
It comes from my dad. Let me see. How do I describe my father? My father was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York, uh, 1925. He actually went to World War II. He was a police officer as a black man, light skin, reddish tone, reddish hair.
Mm,
Um, he was a boxer. He was a salesman. Um, I think that my cool, calm, charismatic energy comes from my father. I watched my dad kind of just turn on, like in real life, how he was in the house was very laid back, kind of funny. Um, but around people, especially like strangers, he'd become the most charming man in the room.
mm.
Um, he also, I never saw him like scared. I don't think I've ever seen my father scared. So I've seen him angry. I've seen him happy. I've seen him sad. Um, but I've never seen my father scared.
Do you think he ever felt pressure? Do you ever see him under pressure, have a different type of personality, or that didn't get to him? Is that kind of like how you end up being the way you are?
I think I seen him. Yeah, in life there was pressure. There were seasons of difficulty and challenge where he did not know what to do, and my amazing mother stepped in with her skill set and her resources and her network and her God, and was able to figure out, hey, this is where we go. This is how we fix that. That's how we do that. But um, in pressure, I mean, my father was alcoholic, so I saw alcoholism as his tool to deal with the pressure of life and choices and consequences that life handed him. But as far as like feeling stress, I never saw him looking stressed.
Mm. So that is amazing. I don't carry my stress very well. I put all my emotions on my arm so people can
Mm.
kind of see. Because I, in my life, I believe if you don't say something, you won't get help. You know, and we
It'll
all
be
need
a
a little bit of
miracle
help.
if they help you. Yeah.
Say it
For
again.
them to know, for them to know that you need help without you saying it, it would be a miracle.
Right. So for me, I'll someone says, "Man, how are you doing?" I ain't doing no good. Actually got that response from my dad. How you doing? I ain't doing no good. And so he was,
Uh,
oh, what's wrong? So I got that from my dad as far as let people know what's up. If what do you say? If you want somebody to know something, tell them.
yep.
So let's dig into your dad's boxing career. How was that?
Well, in 1925, he was like a neighborhood boxer.
Okay.
Uh, he fought in the army. He told me stories about different people that became boxers for real and had names or situations. Remembering that they fought or he watched them fight after they were in the same gym or same street. Um, he taught me how to fight. So that's another place of like maybe one of the earlier places that I learned how to resolve my nerve in a place of difficulty.
Mm,
Like, oh, this who knows how this is gonna go? Who knows what
right.
you'll do? Um, I think boxing taught me how to manage fear and stress and the butterflies.
As a father today, do you feel like, can you look back at the style of parenting, fathering that you got from him? You look at it today. How do you feel about that? The way he treated you, the way he built you up or tore
Oh
you down.
man.
How do you feel about that
Uh,
as in today's standard?
um, so much grace and gratitude for having a dad and having my dad. As a kid, I didn't like it. As a kid, I didn't understand it. As a kid, I preferred other fathers like on TV and in movies and maybe
Mm,
even in the neighborhood. But I'm so grateful for the way my dad showed up. I think without his example, without his good and his bad, I wouldn't be my good and my bad. So I look at it like, man, well, who was I expecting my dad to really be? Like
mm,
his story, the resources and examples that he had, um, the world that he was living in at the time.
definitely. Now, you said he was born in 1925. So
Yeah.
he has a definitely different set of values.
Hmm.
How much of his values do you think you carried with you into your parenting? Because like I said, these are old school values that we've kind of gotten away from. Did you grasp, or are you grabbing hold of them as an adult? Are you grabbing hold of those values now, or are they
Yeah,
just instilled in you?
I think I picked some of them. Some apply, some fit me in my parenting, fatherhood role, responsibility.
Like
Like
what?
for example, my dad was very present. He, he was there. Whether him and my mom had a great relationship or not, he was present. He wasn't the kind of dad that comes to basketball games. I never saw my dad at a basketball game that I played in with a jersey, but he taught me how to play basketball. Right.
Hmm,
Um, he gave me um, skills in boxing. He gave me skills in hunting. He gave me skills in um, how to be a person out in the world. I think I
right.
mimic some of his stoicism, his personality and charm, his humor to diffuse situations and also to build relationships. Um, Another, I think, value that my father had in the way that he parented me was that he was actually very supportive. To be such in the way that I describe, an asshole. Like, I don't like
Yeah,
nothing. I don't believe in nothing. I'm not proud of nothing. I don't love nothing. I'm not hugging nothing. I'm not to
nothing.
be, yeah, to be that kind of a dad. He showed his love through. Like he would make me things or buy things to support my dream or my interest or my passion or my art. He built me. I remember he built me a sword. I wanted a sword from the store. He carved one out of wood. He went to like the Home Depot type of store and like made the Arthur
I ain't,
sword out of
I
like,
ain't buying that sword. I can make that.
I can make that sword. My father, I think he bought an art table. Like you're an artist. The art tables that can like for illustrators, like
Yes.
you can
Yes.
like level it flat or you can level it almost like vertical.
Yeah.
He he got that table without the table part. Like it didn't have the table part. So he made a table with the table metal apparatus, like the
Yeah.
legs, the knobs. He made that table. Uh, what else? I was into magic. He took me to the magic store. He
Okay.
let me like hustle him into like, hey, Dad, I want to go to the toy store just to see something. I just want to see if they got something. He would let me hustle him into getting me a toy
Man, oh
every
man, those
once in
are
a
some.
while. I just want
Oh
to
man,
see something, Dad.
yeah. I hear so many similarities. My dad was like, my dad wouldn't let me hustle him now. Because my dad was, when I was growing up, I didn't think my dad even liked me till I was, he don't think we actually spoke like father and son till I was like 9 or 10. He was
Mm,
there, you know. He's the kind of guy to come home from work, have two Bud Lights, and be in the bed by 8:30. He have dinner, maybe talk to my mom a bit. And I remember us having conversations. So he wouldn't let, he was not letting me hustle him do nothing. So I got a little bit
that's
older.
hilarious.
He saved me. My dad saved me. I'll give you a quick story. I got in trouble right when computers came out, not computers came out, when internet was coming out. I can't believe I'm old enough to know when internet came out.
Yeah, remember when they invented the internet?
Oh, remember when they invented the internet? My dad had the phone hooked up to the modem, and he's typing, he's going in. I'm like, Dad, what you doing? Like, so I'm trying to, see what's going on with this technology. And I get on, and my mom does not have it. I'm in chat rooms. She's like, no, you're not doing none of that chat room stuff. I'm like, okay. And she leave the room, and I come back, and I get back on the chat room. She came in, swoop behind me, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to delete or close the windows quick. And she let me have it. And end of the night, I'm in my bedroom just sobbing. I got in trouble, got a spanking or whatever. I'm like 13 years old. I don't get spankings, but I'm in trouble. My dad come in. I'm like, I don't need it again. Like, come on, bruh. I just got it from mom. Like, I understand. He said, come here. So I go in the living room with him to sit down. I'm like, man, this is extra serious. You could have gave me a lecture in the bedroom. We
Right.
turned the TV on. We watched the Laker game. The first time I ever watched a full 4 quarters of basketball professional, I was in trouble. My dad's kick, come here, sit down and watch TV with me. Ooh, I was like, I got somebody on my side. He let me slide. I was like, mom went to bed, and me and
Mhm.
dad was up watching the Laker game. I tell her that story to this day, and she still gets hot that he undermined her like that. But dad's
Mhm.
coming to save the day. Let's switch gears real quick and finish this thought. Okay, you don't got to go quick, or you could finish this sentence. The funny thing about my dad is
The funny thing about my dad is he liked that people liked him, but he did not like people.
ooh,
He was such a charmer in every story. Oh, your dad, so funny. Your dad's great. He's a great guy. But in behind the scenes, in the car, in the house, I don't like these motherfuckers.
oh my
I
god,
can't stand these people. I'd rather be home. My dad loved the Lakers. We lived in Inglewood the
okay,
majority of my youth. Los Angeles, my entire life.
right on.
Watched basketball religiously. He would watch the replay on cable the next day. He'd catch it live, especially when I was really young. He'd sit in front of the TV, dinner, a beer. It might have been a Coors. It might have been a Bud. I don't remember. I think it was Coors.
Mm,
Coors more than Budweiser. Heineken eventually, I remember.
really?
And yeah, you know.
Okay.
And he would watch movies, he would watch Westerns. And he never went to a Laker game. He never went to a basketball game. He never went to the movie theater.
Mm,
It's not that he didn't like movies. It's not like he didn't like NBA sports. It's not like he didn't like the things he would spend his time watching. He just didn't like people.
wow. But people loved him.
People loved him.
That's a testament. So, with all that being said, we know a little bit about your father being born in 1925. He actually went to the war. He said World War
Mhm.
II. He was a
World War
police
II, he
officer
went
as a
early.
black man. As a black man, he's a police officer. Um, obviously, looking at you and hearing from you, he's very charming and doesn't get rattled. How does all that in that little package there, how has that influenced your parenting with your kids? Like, how do you see yourself, or how has it influenced you, or have you gone more, have you leaned in more toward his style? Have you leaned away from it? Are you cherry picking, saying the good or the bad? Like, how's it
Mhm.
influenced you?
I'm definitely supportive. I'm definitely present. I'm definitely trying to make it harder for my kids to improve on my story, on my model.
As you should.
Um, but I think I'm more affectionate, more communicative, way more patient.
What's the difference
Um,
between your father's affectionism and your affectionism?
yeah,
I'm gonna
let's
coin
call it
those words.
affectionism. I like that word now.
Affectionism, yeah.
Um,
So what's the difference? How do you see it being different?
I don't remember what my father's hand felt like. I don't know what my dad's hug. feels like. I can remember kissing my dad, but I don't know what his kiss felt like. My kids know what my hug, my hands, my kiss feels like.
Well,
We just start there.
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I used to look at my dad's hands a lot. Me and my dad and my son share the same hands, like the wrinkles and where they show up the most and where the veins pop out the most. And
Hmm.
we share the same hands. So I paid attention a lot to my dad's hands for some reason. And you said that, what you said, that was that kind of brought something to life in me. Um, yeah, the touch is very important. So you're more hands-on, like literally more hands-on.
Hmm. My daughter, my son get hugs from me often. I hold hands with my kids. I play.
Mm.
There's touch there, um, but also kiss. Like I let my daughter kiss me. I kiss my son. I kiss my daughter. Even when my daughter plays games, just stall like one more hug, one more kiss before I have a bit. Like I'll play. I'll let that go
Yeah.
because I definitely want you to know what dad's hand, hug, kiss. I want you to remember that.
Yeah. So many times I'm recently separated from my wife, and I've heard a lot of kids, not like a lot of men that have grown up saying, "Oh, my father wasn't around," and this is the way I turned out. I found that affection or that love or that admiration in the streets. Um, you said you're born and raised LA through and through. Did you ever find yourself looking for um, fatherly advice or male role models in the streets of LA? How did
Not
that work
necessarily
out
in the
compared?
streets per se. My parents were overprotective. My mom wasn't physically at work when I was getting old enough to go into the streets.
Hmm.
She was the one to fit. I didn't take a bus nowhere. I was being picked up from the spot to get picked up at the school, right outside the school.
Hmm.
But I did look for, because of how I judged my father, I did look for male mentorship, father figure energy, because my dad didn't communicate. He wasn't telling stories. He wasn't teaching lessons. He wasn't giving game. I also probably didn't respect the level of success that he had got to.
Hmm.
Um, I was looking for the leader who can give me game about college because I was going to college. He had never gone to college. I was looking for, the leader who had got some money in business or in like some type of investment. Like I wanted somebody to give me some secrets. My dad couldn't. He wasn't communicative like that, and he also didn't have the story. He didn't have the information.
Right. So yeah, so actually for him to actually give you the game, he'd have to go through it and get it himself.
Yeah.
That's when the life he lived, right?
Yep. But being young and having those emotions, I judged my father, and it made me feel like, oh, I don't like you because you don't like me. You don't tell me you love me. You're not affectionate. So let me go find other male, grandpa, father age energy to teach me, to help me become the person I'm trying to become. I have goals, I got dreams, and these people can help. So yeah,
How old are your kids?
my son is 16, my daughter is 3.
Hmm.
Fun gap.
So you and the 16-year-old boy, man,
Hmm. Yeah, young man for sure.
how's that going? Are you feeling a sense that he's only got 2 more years to adulthood, quote unquote adulthood? Um, so from the tutelage and the rearing that you've received, how do you rate yourself um, as him being a 16-year-old compared to you being a 16-year-old?
I'll give myself an A. I'm really hands on. I'm present. I think we have a great relationship. Um, I think more now than ever, he knows who I am. He's getting the stories about, oh, your dad's awesome. Your dad taught me this. Your dad was da 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 da. Your dad
Oh
gave
yeah,
me,
yeah, you're Mr. Howard 365. You've got so
yeah.
many good questions. When I get back in the dating game, one of these days, I'm going right to your page. I'm going through
Come on,
all the
bro.
questions. I'm going through all the
And
questions because
I
those
work
are
in
very
education
good.
too.
Say it again.
I work in education too, but go ahead.
You already have a background on how to disseminate information.
Yeah.
And yeah, your question asking game is phenomenal. So for
Thank you.
those who are listening, you need to get with Mr. Howard 365. If you're married, dating, single, you just want to get to know about yourself, man, he has the questions. Some of them are very simple, right?
Hmm.
And you just have to be honest with yourself or in the moment. And those are some good get to know you questions. I appreciate those on a regular. I'm always looking, even though I'm not dating right now, I'm always looking for someone to ask these questions to.
There we
I'm gonna be
go.
on it. I'm gonna be on it.
Yeah, when it's time, it's time. You got the tools. That's really what it's about. It's like, whether you use them today or use them in a year or two, you might use them sooner than you think because you're using them on yourself. Like, huh. Or it might inspire. Like I do photography for fun now. I just recently got back into photography.
I saw some of them.
And I'm like, what's the value of a camera that inspires you to pick a picture to make, to shoot, to develop, or to edit, and then to print or publish online somewhere. If the tool inspires something, if the pencil inspires something, if the book or the movie or the sound inspires you to make something that you've never made before, or to use something when you could just be asleep or chill or eat or do something else, how much is that tool worth?
Man,
It's same thing with questions, the same thing with relationships. When you have valuable assets that inspire you to go do something that you normally might not do if you didn't have it, it's worth it.
that's some good knowledge right there. You've been around the block once or twice, I can tell.
Thank you, brother.
And the best part is not only do you have a skill set in communication. You know what you want to say, and you say it, and it comes across, I believe, the way you want it to come across. Now that is a super skill. Do you try to get your kids to do that? Be able to communicate with you? I mean, I know you got a
Yes,
15-year-old, so that's got to be on the
yes.
difficult side.
It's actually not. Fathering him is fun right now. It's is answering questions, asking the right questions, but listening more. Um, and when he asks me a question, having my story, giving my perspective, giving my encouragement with what I'm hearing from him, or just giving clear direction, like, hey, it's your choice. You're going to make the choice as a young man that you want to make. I made some choices when I was 16, 17, 18. If I could do it over, this is what I would do.
Hmm.
Or what I wish I had there was a moment to slow down and to see all the choices. Like, if I do this, this is what can happen. This is where I can go. This is what I can get. But if I do this, and making a choice from that, not just the emotions or the impulse or the urgency, um, but seeing it. So, looking at fatherhood like a coach. I'm not here to
Yeah.
tell you what to do or not to do. I'm here to set up some situations for you, give you some tools and preparation, and then in the play, out in the field, being someone that you can look to, call on, or hear my voice giving you some encouragement, some direction.
Okay. That is like the football metaphor gave me goosebumps because I was thinking about the time where my dad left the family and he was gone for like 2 weeks before I seen him again. And the next time I saw him, I'm on the football field.
Mm,
He's holding the chain. He's part of the chain gang.
hmm.
Now, I love my dad unconditional. That's my guy to this day.
Hmm.
I've never held anything against him except that. I'm
Yeah.
like, bruh, you left 2 weeks ago. I ain't heard from you. And the next thing I hear you, let's go, Brian. I look over, my dude standing right next to me. I'm like, where you been at? But no,
Mm.
you gotta focus.
It
So
hurts.
we are kind of a partner. I know Dr. Charles Dorsey has a friend over in the UK that's started his own podcast called 40 Weeks for Men. It's a great idea to kind of give men that have pregnant wives or pregnant girlfriends 40 weeks to get their mind right. So in that spirit, what good piece of advice would you give a father to be?
Mm. What would I give a father to be?
He's got 40 weeks to get his mind right.
I think I would start with the question of, like, what is a father? What's the job of fatherhood? How important is it? What does it look like? What's the difference between fathering and mothering? And what's the goal? Because if I know what my goal is, then I can hold myself accountable to, well, am I on track to meet the goal? Am I going the right direction? Am I going the wrong direction? Um, I I don't think there's a lot of conversations around fatherhood. I think we talk about mothering and what a good mother is and isn't, but it's very clear when people don't like a father or they, have a negative outlook on what a father is or should be doing that they're not doing.
Yes.
But it's not very clear when you're talking about a good dad, a good father, what is making them a good father. So
What is that? What's because you said something different between mothering and fathering. What would
yes.
you say is the difference between that? Like to have a clear line.
Oh, this is a whole podcast. We could talk about the difference between mothering and fathering, but to not be long-winded this time, to try to stay on task for you, for
Right.
your audience. I think the difference between mothering and fathering is the role of fathering has a different route to the same goal. I want my child to be safe, loved, protected, empowered, supported, encouraged, pushed, taught, so that they can be a great example of humanity, to honor ourselves that we share similar, and be their best version of themselves. Not to be another version of me, but to be their best them.
Okay. So for the audience, don't get it twisted. Like that's the goal, right? You said the
Mhm.
fathering and mothering get to the
We
same
take
goal, but
different
on different
routes.
routes. So let's
Yes.
not say that that's only because mothers are going to be like, hey, I want the same things for my baby too. But
Yeah,
we're
of
saying that.
course.
Yeah, we're saying that, but there's different routes to getting there. Man, we could
Mhm.
really go into mothering and fathering
We could just
because
be
our
specific
role,
about voice, right? Like, as a father of two, as a young man who's been in education and working with young people, students, even people who are young people who are in juvenile incarceration, there's a clear difference when a man's presence is in the room, when a man speaks to a young lady or a young man, depending on the age, whatever. Mom could say, hey, stop, quietly, loudly, seriously, playfully. When the male voice, no matter how deep his voice is, when the male voice says, hey, stop, loudly, softly, meanly, playfully, whatever, the way it impacts the people in the room, the way kids, babies, infants, teenagers, toddlers, whatever age group, the way they hear it and the way they respond to it, way different. As a 42-year-old man who works in education and also works with young people, which is one of my passions, some of my male energy is almost embodying grandma, auntie, mom love, but in a
yeah,
man body,
yeah, I
right?
like that.
It's like I'm being affectionate like my mom was, but I speak like my dad was.
That that's
The look,
very
the look of
impactful.
dad and the look of mom can come from the same emotion, like "good job" or "you better not fucking, you better not keep, you better stop." Like the look can come without words from the same place. But if dad has a relationship with you and he looks at you like that, a conviction, a spirit, a consciousness causes a different reaction. It's just a different tool in the toolbox.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Man, and this has been a great conversation, man. So I seem to learn a lot about you and your father and your parenting style. I mean, I love the fact that you let your children be them with all the support that they can handle, from dad. And like you said, I mean, I've read in places that just having a male in the classroom, students do better. We don't have a lot of male teachers, but just to have one
Think
in
about
your classroom,
schools, schools, especially inner city schools. The number of men, the number of men of color, the number of Black men, and then like Black men who come from like similar experiences, neighborhoods, got a little bit of the same lingo, listen to similar kind of energy in the music. We might have watched similar movies. We might like similar hobbies.
Yes.
Those men are usually custodial or coaches.
Trust. I looked up the numbers. The number of African American male teachers in California is less than 2%, maybe 2.1% when I
And
looked it up.
usually they're not in the hood because they're trying to get a check. They, you know what I mean? They're trying to get paid what they need to be able to provide for their life. Education is already a challenge. And then like the really good male Black teacher, they're on a path to become a principal or a dean,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they're not in the classroom long. So then what happens is that male teacher who can like bring that male energy to that campus, to that yard, the field, to that classroom, to that subject, the boys, specifically the boys of color, don't see themselves in education, in the educators. They don't value education the same way as young ladies do. The way that we deal with discipline and understanding young male emotion and defiance and rule breaking and personalities and attitudes and stuff like that, it's different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
This conversation can go on and on because I know you got the passion because you've been in education for how many years now?
Over 22 years, sir.
Yeah, so this could be deep. If we want to get into some real classroom educational tricks of the trade, I'm sure you got a lot of knowledge in that area. And just having stats wise and just seeing the difference in children's behavior, you know what I'm saying, from being in the classroom with a white woman teacher versus being in the classroom with a Black male teacher, you know,
Yep.
those stats are different. And there's a ton of that demographic in the teaching arena, right? White women, Asian women, Hispanic women, women in general are usually in the classrooms. There's not very many male teachers, period, let alone if you start dividing it down into ethnicity and nationality, you don't see many of them at all. And those are very, very necessary. I did want to start a movement where it called Black Men Read. I never got it off the ground. And it was to get volunteer Black men to read 1 hour a day in classrooms. Let students see, let students see a Black man every day outside of their normal everything. Yeah. Or at least once a week. Someone's going to come through and read to you about something. I wanted to get that stuff, but I didn't get very far. I'm going to need some help from you on that one.
I mean, I love that idea. I think that you should consider revisiting that and reinvesting in that. I used to do this thing when my son was in elementary school, started by his elementary school principal, a Black woman. She was a Delta. She was a super intelligent educator, but also become an admin. She was like, "Mr. Howard, we need more men on this campus. We need them somewhere. How do we get them in there?" She was like, I do this thing called coffees with a principal, or, you know, the principal will have coffee and donuts. And, you know, not too many men felt comfortable coming to that or staying long or, you know, engaging. And I was like, get men to do your drop-off line where the kids would get dropped off by their parent or guardian. Who aren't coming to the bus, coming by bus or not walking or biking, but there's a vehicle that drops off the kid. There's usually a spot or a line of cars that the kids go to this one area and they hop out. Well, who's gonna hop out to make sure there's not traffic and illegal parking and like fights and accidents and stuff? What if we had different days of the month where we had men volunteer to kind of run the ballet line? And we had men reaching out to the men and, you know, networking, shaking hands, like, hey, we got this thing. We need some men. We need some men to show up. You just got on this morning the ability to show up and start. You don't got to stay the whole time. You know, that was a thing. And it turned into a group where the dads would come to the campus and then stay for a recess, stay for lunch. You know what I mean? Like, it just was a way of bringing male energy into the campus.
I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's a necessity. But with that, we had a great talk.
Yes, sir.
Tell them where they can find you and tell them what you're into right now.
Man, listen, online social media, I am a facilitator by trade. I ask questions, hopefully to help you reflect, build some connections, heal, change directions, maybe start something that you're interested in or dreaming about or planning on. And then also relationships like dating, singleness, and marriage, breaking up, getting back together, or starting something new. I have questions that support those different stages or different places. You can find me online on Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn at Mr. Howard 365, MRHOWARD 365, because my name is Mr. Howard. And I post every doggone day. Somewhere on the internet, there's a video that I will post physically myself, not some pre-planned or somebody else does it. I post it every day. On YouTube as well. Where am I not? Uh, I'm not on Pinterest. So if there's somebody that
Wow.
says Mr. Howard 365, it's not me, but everywhere else is me.
He has got some amazing merch, y'all. Definitely, I would go
Yeah.
check him out. Every video he's rocking something. I've seen lately, you become your own model. Hey, sometimes you
Yep.
got to step out there and do what you got to do, right?
Hey, if we post something, why am I wearing somebody else's stuff
To be
if
honest,
I got my
right?
own stuff?
You got your own stuff, man. Rock it. It's beautiful, y'all. I'm about to get me
Thank
a
you.
couple hoodies. And with that, y'all, that's fatherhood for you. Fathers and sons
Yeah.
speaking. Man, we're just trying to make some waves. We're trying to create a safe space for men to tell their stories. And I think
Yes,
this is
sir.
one for the books right here, Mr. Howard. 365. It's been a pleasure. We'll be seeing you soon, sir. I'll talk
Absolutely. I
to you.
appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Peace.
Peace.
All right. We'll edit the rest of this out and I will send you my address because I need one of those hoodies.
Yeah, man. DM me, bro.
All right, for sure, man. Thank you for doing this for me.
And the size too. I need the size.
Got you. I'll send you
Yeah.
all that, man. Thank you again for doing this for us, man. Appreciate it to have you on here, man. You're the great communicator. So I think this is one
Yeah.
for the book, man, for real.
All right. Thanks.
I appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right. Man, peace.
Later.